Okay, and we are so live on a Sunday evening. Ah, finally get this whole thing together now.
Okay, and what we're going to kind of do tonight on this first one, if we only do one, if we do others, we'll deal with that. We're going to do a top 15 of Elvis. If we have time, I have a
Yeah,
top 10 for Everly Brothers and Roy Orbison. That way we can jam them all in real quick.
yeah, and sadly I was not able to really contribute it in my top 15 on because I don't really have any albums by either the Everly Brothers, Elvis, or Roy Orbison. It was my discography was mostly made up of mostly Beatles, a couple Who records, a couple Van Halen records, a couple of Stones records there, and that's pretty much about it. So I was kind of like, okay, oh, what's for the
Well,
front?
actually, you can go to Wikipedia and look at their discographies and go through those
Yeah, yeah,
and at least
definitely.
get the songs. But at any rate, what I thought I'd do is I'd do my top 15 and
So
Dr.
let's
Orwell
comment on it. Yes.
and say something.
And also, there's this one discussion I would want to that I don't think we did discuss a little bit, but it definitely needs to be brought out in the open about. And this goes all those kids out there are looking trying to distribute their music. Especially nowadays, we could do it with YouTube, Bandcamp, and all these other streaming services out there. These other music services like Amazon Music, this and that and that and this. But back then it was back then bands like the Stones, the Beatles, and others had to come up with their own record label. And it takes a lot of skill to run that.
Right.
It's basically like they say in the TV show Bar Rescue. It's not just a job. It's not just a task. It's a science. Yeah, because you got to know how much to spend, how much to promote, when to promote this, how to market this artist, how to market that artist there, and Apple Records, the Beatles record label, founded in 1968 as a division of their thing called Apple Core Limited. It was supposed to have been a creative outlet for the Fab Four, both as a group and individually, plus a section of other artists that they had signed, like Badfinger, James Taylor, and one of their backup guys, Billy Preston.
Yeah. They actually had some pretty decent artists on that label.
Yeah, including, of course, as I mentioned, Badfinger, who were often christened by people as the second Beatles when you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, and the tragedy of that band was even more outstanding than the Beatles breakup when you think about it, because they had bad management problems, which resulted in two of their main members, Tom Evans and Pete Ham, committing suicide years apart.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna and shout out to Casey as Raw in the chat up here. And Casey, if you want to join in the call, let us know, man. I can add you in, dude. You know,
Yeah. Our main topic for tonight are the things that I just was discussing just a second ago. Some top list, because I figured that's one way for us to basically kind of let people know, basically a few things about some of these artists they may not know, some of the songs, and basically that is what I was looking to do with this. Uh,
yes,
on the Elvis list, I've got what I'd consider, and again, these are personal favorites. It's not an all inclusive, these are the best songs or anything of that nature. And I would suggest that if anyone has differences or has their own list or whatever, put it in the comments. I'd be interested to see it.
yeah,
I may have missed a song. It's very possible. Or I might not have something that's high rated as you would have it, which is fine. Everybody has an opinion. In fact, when I read this, Dr. Earl may go, whoa, no, not that song. Or he may say, no, it's higher or lower or whatever. That's fine. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. But on my top 15, my number 15 is Crying in the Chapel. I like that. Good song. My number 14 is In the Ghetto. Another pretty good
Yeah, by
song.
the way, now interesting that you bring up that subject there, because I know a lot of black rights activists, came down hard on that song there. And do you feel it was discriminated towards blacks because of the description that they were in the song there?
Uh, I think what he was trying to do was point out a problem. I don't think he was trying to.
Inner city violence.
Right, and I think he was trying to point out a problem that needed to be addressed. And that was kind of the way I looked at it, I suppose. But then again, we don't have any kind of idea about that whole situation because we haven't lived it.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, we grew up in Detroit, but as we was way young kids before mom and dad moved us all to Roseville, and we just and we all kept hearing about all the crimes being committed in the downtown Detroit area. We hear about and this was years before the carjacking craze would start going there. We'd hear about robberies, holdups,
Right,
shoot-ups here and
right.
there, between gang members and people who would just feel the need to whip out a pistol instead of whipping out words out of their mouth here. And it's just, it's just at the same time that this shit still goes on today, believe it or not,
Yeah,
in inner cities, whether it's Chicago, Houston, or Los Angeles, or somewhere parts of Boston, believe it or not. But
yeah, and
this
I really think that, like I say, I think Elvis was trying to address a problem and go with that.
and some people out there may not be understandable of it because they're only looking at with their PC eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, it may not have been how they wanted it addressed, but at least he was making an effort.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you got to give Elvis credit for that, or whoever wrote the song, believe it or not,
Yeah,
because that's like I said, that's that shit that he was talking about. The shoot ups, the robberies, still go on today.
yeah,
Sad to say, and it's sad, but unfortunately, we have yet to even to see some real effort being put into to getting this problem licked.
no, no, it just continues,
Yeah.
and
And as long as
it's
and as long as that continues in these areas, songs in the ghetto or other songs pertaining to that subject will continue to pop up.
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, my number
Okay.
13 is It's Now or Never.
Yeah. I think John Schneider, for the guy who started the Dukes of Hazzard, I think he covered that song around the early 1980s, I believe, if I remember there.
I believe you're correct on that one.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the album cover at an old record store while living in Roseville a couple of times there, and I know it was played on the radio. And I guess it was on the country music charts for a while there.
Yeah, yeah. My number 12 is Always on My Mind, which is definitely a country song. Uh, Willie Nelson, I believe, wrote it.
Oh yeah, and later the Pet Shop Boys did their dance club version of that.
Oh, that must have been interesting.
I know it was. I couldn't even stand that version myself. But Willie Nelson, he took it up to a more emotional notch when you really listen to it there.
And Elvis did a good job on his cover because his was a
Yeah,
cover.
he
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Who originally performed it before Elvis? Was it
Well, I guess it was Willie Nelson.
Oh wow, because but the Willie Nelson version I remember was a big hit around the 1980s, early 1980s.
I don't know if that was a re-release or his original version or what it was.
Because that's what I remember. That was back around, I guess, 1981, 82, or somewhere around that period there. And that was a big hit. You know,
Yeah, maybe somebody can enlighten us on that one.
tell you what, let me look it
Again,
up here.
again, the comments. That's what you guys can do. Let us know in the comments.
All right. Okay, here always I'm looking up here. A song by Willie Nelson. And it's a ballad song written by Wade Carson, Johnny Christopher, and Mark James. It's been
Huh.
a crossover hit, and let's see here, in many Western, country, and pop categories. All music lists over 300 recorded versions of this song by dozens of performers, including Brenda Lee in 1972, Elvis Presley that same year, John Wesley Reichs in 79, uh, Willie Nelson's version in 1982, which won a Grammy, and of course the Pet Shop Boys in 1987.
Yeah, it's funny because I always believed that Willie Nelson wrote that song, so I've been corrected.
Yeah,
Good
interesting
song though.
here. Yeah, it is. Came out in 1972. Elvis's version did,
Yeah.
and it received an immense fame and critical acceptance, and is considered one of Presley's most standout songs of the 1970s. Next to separate, next to actually was a B-side to his single "Separate Ways," and it was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America for
Hmm.
sales in excess of 1 million units. It was also listed as a double A side, reaching number 16 on the Billboard's Hot Country Singles in November of that year, 72. And in the UK, it was a hit song, while Separate Ways was the B side, vice versa.
Yeah, I was going to say that Separate Ways I really don't remember well, but I always on my mind I do remember.
Oh, yeah,
Weird how that
absolutely.
works.
Yeah. Yeah.
My number 11, I got I Just Can't Help Believing.
I think I heard that one there.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. Well, this is another reason I'm doing this because it kind of gives you a list to look at.
Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fan. What's up, dog? He's in the chat here. I had to say hi to him there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
My number 10, I've got Heartbreak Hotel. Man,
Oh, yeah, we know.
some people might think that's a little low, but that's where I got it.
Oh, yeah. But then again, it's one of the outstanding tunes that Elvis Presley did many in his career there.
Yeah,
Next to Jailhouse Rock.
yeah. And Jailhouse Rock, I'm going to surprise you, didn't even make my top 15, but I like the song.
That's true, yeah. We got to also give up to Motley Crue because they covered their version on the Girls, Girls, Girls album there back in 1987 as well. I only heard it one time. I was like, wow, this is interesting there.
Yeah.
It's a live version, by the way.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a few people that do that kind of thing.
Yep.
My number 9, I've got Are You Lonesome Tonight. Uh, Kind of, in Elvis's case, I kind of lean toward those kind of songs with him.
The ballads.
Yeah, sort of. Not always, but
Hmm.
depends on the song, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true. But then again, the way it was performed, the arrangements, and along with Elvis's voice, often makes it more unique in terms of how the song is performed there.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. That has
Yeah.
a very much to do with it. Number 8, I got Return to Sender. Don't know, there's
Oh,
something
yeah.
about that song I really like.
Mm.
It's a decent song.
Wow. Interesting.
My number 7, I got his latest Flame, which I like that song a lot too. Well,
Mm.
obviously, it's on my top 7.
Nice.
Number 6, I have Don't Be Cruel, which in a lot of cases I call it the chicken song because, as he sings it, the backup singer's going, buck, buck, or whatever. And it
Bop,
sounds
bop,
like,
bop, bop.
sounds like chickens.
Bop, 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 bop. Don't be, I love you. Bop, 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 bop. That kind of stuff there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what'd you think of the Cheap Trick version of that song?
I like the way they did it. They did it decently.
I agreed as well. I think Billy Joel did his cover for an Elvis tribute a couple years back, if I remember there.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot
again,
of tribute albums floating around for various groups that some of the songs are actually quite good.
yeah, interesting there. But yeah, of course, when you're going to do a cover of a song there, keep in mind, keep it towards the original, but add a little bit of yourself into it as well. That's what I remember. I guess this one actor, what's his name, Michael Damian, did with that song "Rock On," the David XX tune,
Oh yeah,
somewhere in the '80s. There, I remember he was talking about that in a paper there interview.
yeah. And like we said before, some cover songs make are horrible compared to the original. And the
Oh
one that
god.
comes to mind for me is was it Lincoln Park that did Behind Blue Eyes? Was it them?
No, it was Limp Bizkit.
Limp Biscuit, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that, and
Oh,
gosh,
that's horrible.
oh my, let me ask everybody listening, who didn't want to smack the shit out of Fred Durst at his voice for fucking that song up?
It was definitely bad.
It was horrible. It was cheesy. It was retarded. I mean, they took out one of the big elements, the bridge of the song. What the fuck happened to when my fist clenches, crack it open before I use it, lose my cool? What the fuck, dudes?
Yeah, that was just bad.
It was it was bad. It was fucking horrific.
Oh yeah. And my number five is Burning Love.
Oh yeah, I remember a video of that. I was doing that song there live. I guess a performance there. He was doing all his usual moves here and there.
Right. But like I
Yep.
say, as I go through this list, some of you are going to go,
Huh?
"What's wrong with you?" Well, no, these are my favorites. Number four, I got "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Oh yeah, which of course both Corey Hart, a well-known Canadian singer, covered on one of his albums, and of course the reggae group UB40 did for that movie Sliver
Yep.
that started Sharon Stone. I guess that's somewhere in around the next following decade, the 1990s there.
My number three, there's another group that does a cover of this song that is absolutely fantastic. Do you know where I'm going?
No, you gotta give me a clue there, man.
Viva Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh, and we know, and I know which band you're referring to. Yep, that little old band from Texas.
I like the Elvis version, obviously, but the other version
The
by
ZZ Top
ZZ
version,
Top
yes, I did. I like that
is
as well. It had a lot
excellent.
more grit to it. Yes, definitely had a lot more grit to it in its path there.
Yeah. Then number two, I got Love Me Tender.
Oh yeah,
Great song.
oh yeah, one of his all-time ballads there.
And my number one is Suspicious Minds.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's got to be one of the most top. That's I remember that song was used in a couple movies. There, I remember the Fine Young Cannibals, that pop group from England who did that "It
Right.
Drives Me Crazy" song there, which I couldn't stand. They did their version for some movie, which name I forgot. It
Yeah.
was a yeah, but that's probably one of his most notable songs that still often gets played on oldies radio stations. I know there was this one back in Michigan, the southeast Michigan area, who did that, played that song a lot of times there during the
It's
daytime and nighttime.
it's a great song, and I'm kind of hoping that my list spurs people to go, hey, you know what? I got to listen to these songs. Because, like I said, I'd love to see other people put down their list in your comments or my comments. Doesn't really matter.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody has a top 10, top 5, top 15 lists or of their favorite songs and artists, feel free to put them in the comments section on both Arky's channel and my channel as well. Feel free to, man.
And give us ideas for future, because this is going to be a part of when we talk about a group, is we're also going to go over a top whatever list for the group. All we're doing now is catching up on people we've already talked about.
Yes,
And when we get done with that,
absolutely.
we'll put it in as part of the show.
Absolutely. Because, and You know,
I
sorry
think it
about
kind
that.
of adds something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
What the list?
I think the list kind of give us, well, it gives people something to look to listen for, and go, oh, well, yeah, I remember that song. And they can make their own little lists.
Absolutely there.
Because, like I said, I'd be real interested to see what it is that.
We welcome audience participation. Do invite
Absolutely.
people. We do invite people to call up, and to give their takes on this subject or that subject that we are pertaining to there.
And we'll kind of announce ahead of time what we're going to do so that people can prepare if they need to, or they can call in cold. It doesn't really matter. It's no big deal.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, I got a
All right.
top 10 list of the Everly Brothers.
Nice.
And let's see, we'll start number 10 is Devoted to You. Nice little song. Definite ballad, but it's a nice little song.
It is. Yep.
Number 9, I've got Till I Kissed You. Number 8, I got Bird Dog.
Bird dog.
Yep, they
Bird
did.
and dog together there.
Well, no, it's a type of dog.
Oh, a dog that looks like a bird.
No, no, they hunt birds.
The hunt. Oh, I see now. One of those dogs that hunt down when you go duck shooting.
Right.
You go out and go get the ducks for you. I see now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's a cool little song, actually.
Well, I didn't know they were called bird dogs for that matter. I thought they were just like hunting dogs there.
Yeah, it's a neat little song. You got to look it up.
Oh, nice. Interesting there.
Number 7, I got Let It Be Me, which was covered by several people. Off the
Wow.
top of my head, I can't think of any of them, obviously. Number 6, I think you've heard this song before.
Yes.
Love Hurts.
Oh yeah, we know this song like the back of our hand. That song's been covered, done by the Everly Brothers. Yeah, Roy Orbison did his version. Of course,
Actually, I think
Cher
he
did
broke
her.
it. I think he wrote it. Roy
Yeah, Roy
Orbison.
Orbison. No, I don't think he. I think let me look it up there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I'm not
Love
sure.
and so many people have recorded that, done that song so many times. I mean, the one we all know, of course, is
Nazareth,
the Nazareth version. Absolutely, there.
which I
I
really
mean,
like that.
which is considered one of the top ballads. It was written by Bo Elves. Let me spell his name. Boudleaux.
Okay,
That's
never
what
heard
I'm
of him,
talking
but
about. I've never heard of that. That's the guy's first name, but his last name is Bryant. Bull X Brian. I can't now. This is one of the things that pisses me off because they're trying to look up you cannot pronounce certain names there. It was first recorded by the Everly Brothers back in 1960. It was also recorded. Actually, it's also recorded by, of course, Roy Orbison.
right.
It also was a big hit for Jim Capaldi, the former drummer of Steve Winwood's old band, Traffic, that same year, 1975, the same year that Nazareth did their version.
Right.
I mean, we also said, let's see here. There was a recording by Emmylou Harris and Graham Parsons from the Byrds. It was released on his album, Grievous Angel, that came out after his death in 1973. And she
Yeah.
made that song a staple of her repertoire. And it's included in her concert set list as well for the 70s to the 19 to present, by the way. Jennifer Warnes, who then remember did that song, Heart of the Night, and
Yeah.
also that duet with Joe Cocker years later. She
Right.
released a version on her self-titled album in 1976. And of course, Cher did her version on one of her albums. I guess it was called what was it called? Heart of Stone, if I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Well,
he
suffice
recorded.
to say, this is a good song.
Yeah, no, it's for the. Oh, yeah, it was. No, I corrected. It was the album with the same name in 1991. Shiba Joan Jett and the Blackhearts did their version for a covers album called The Hit List. Rod Stewart did it for his album, still the same great rock classics of all time. And of course, the bluegrass version of that song, believe it or not, was appeared in the super duper cut of the Deadpool 2 soundtrack
Huh.
and the Once Upon a Deadpool DVD.
Wow.
It was also recorded by the Osborne brothers for their 77 release, titled From Rocky Top to Muddy Bottom. And of course, jazz guitarist Julian Lang performs his version on the 19. Next, what am I talking about? The 2019 album of the exact same name.
Wow.
Wow, it's been recorded many times. So the guy who wrote it, Mr. Brian, because I have to refer him to as I mentioned, I cannot pronounce his first name with a shit.
He had to
But
get a few royalties.
oh, he probably got more than a lot of royalties. That's if he had got the song copyrighted in his name, because a lot of times, as you can
Right.
see, with certain songs, these songs, often go. The publishing company owns most of the rights of these songs there, and even though the person who wrote them, do get a good percentage, but the bulk of the money goes to the publishing company, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And of course, the Nazareth version became so successful in the country of Norway that it charted for 61 weeks in the Norwegian charts.
wow.
Wow.
My number 5, I got Kathy's Clown.
Oh yeah, we remember hearing that one there many times.
Yep.
Probably one of those songs that does everything that his girlfriend wants him to do, like eat these mud pipes. Go sure, my love, I'll eat you. Nom 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 nom. One
Yeah.
of those guys. Yep. You know.
Number
Kiss
4,
that tree. I will love you. I love you, baby. Mwah. One of
Anything You
those kind
Want.
of guys.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything you want. Yep, 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 yep. Who's how many times we've seen that before?
Yeah. Number 4, I got Wake Up Little Susie.
Oh yeah, that. Remember the Simon Garfunkel version?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Simon Garfunkel released a live album called The Concert at Central Park in around 1981. Massive hit. They recorded that version along with it, and it became a top 10 single for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 3, I got Walk Right Back, which I believe Anne Murray covered it.
Mm, really?
I think
Whatever
so.
happened? Yeah, whatever happened to Anne Marie?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe, hopefully, she's home at Canada. I think
Um,
she's Canadian.
she is Canadian, yes. I know. I think she's probably still performing, but we haven't. She has not released an album in ages. I mean, she released a couple of good songs there. Not. I'm not. I was never big on Anne Murray there. Believe it or not, but but she was one of those soft rock artists there.
Yeah, I like
I
some of
think.
her stuff. She's kind of a one that she's not a dial turner. If
Yeah.
she comes on, I'm not going to sit over there and run for the dial and go, "Whoa, got to turn it."
Yeah.
I'm
But
just
you
going
know
to go,
what? But she
okay.
did a good version of one Beatles song. I think it was "You Won't See Me." I think it was that she covered there.
It could be. And she
Yeah.
also did a cover of a Monkees song, "Daydream Believer."
Oh yeah. Obviously. I think I
Uh,
remember hearing that as well. I just don't remember when. Dang
well, we'll
gummit.
kind of cover Anne Murray when we get there.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a few of those kind of artists that we got to cover them because they're not horrible. They're just different.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have guilty pleasures. I've mentioned more than once. Neil
Yeah.
Diamond's my guilty pleasure. I, I,
Well,
li- I like me some Neil Diamond.
you know who's my guilty pleasure?
Who's that?
Luther Vandross.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not so
Yeah.
guilty.
Not really. Well, you got to for a guy who listens to heavy metal and industrial music like myself.
Well, okay.
Me listening to a Luther Vandross song from ages ago, it's kind of would seem like awkward in some ways. But but you can't really help it because bottom line, Luther knew how to fucking deliver.
Yeah, and I
He,
gotta say with Neil Diamond, I'm more in tune with his early to mid stuff. The later stuff when he got into Jonathan Livingston Seagull and all that, don't. really care so much for that.
Ah,
But I do like a lot of his early and mid stuff. It's actually pretty good. But
nice.
we'll get to meet Neil Diamond.
Absolutely,
He'll
yeah.
get his
Yeah,
time.
sure. Yeah. Yes.
My number two, I got Bye Bye Love.
And we know that song pretty well there.
Yep, yep. My number one might surprise you.
Yes.
All I Have to Do Is Dream.
Yeah, which,
I
by the way,
really
I
like
remember,
that song.
you know what? Interesting that you mentioned that. You remember a program called The Cutting Edge that IRS Records used to be behind? It was a program that used to run on the old MTV on Sunday nights occasionally at times. And one of the features was REM when Michael Stipe still had lots his long hair and shit.
Right.
They did their version of that song.
Actually, the cover band I was in, we did that song.
Ah, nice, nice as well. I should probably look up that version of that REM did sometime after we get done with this show here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing I liked
but
about the Everly Brothers, too, is I really like good vocal harmony, and they had good vocal harmony.
they did, yes, absolutely.
And a lot of the groups that I kind of really like to listen to, good vocal harmony.
Yep.
But again, it's not always that way because sometimes if a singer has a fairly strong voice or a distinctive voice or something along those lines, I'm okay with that. It's whatever I feel like at the moment, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the
Got
last
that.
guy we're going to talk about today on this part is
Mhm.
Roy Orbison.
Yeah. What do you read of one of the traveling Woolberries there? And of
Well, I don't
course, when
have
it
any
could,
of those in there.
I know, I understand there, but he's best remembered for his also that song "You Got It," which Jeff Lynne from ELO recorded there. And it was sad that that's Roy Orbison sadly, as you know, passed away. What was it, 1989? I guess it was.
I believe so.
And that song, after his passing, that song became a massive hit when that record, Mystery Girl, came out.
Oh, that song's on my list, by the way.
Nice.
My number 10 by him was Leah. I like that song and the way he does it. It's a nice song.
Mm. Kind of I'm even thinking that if I wonder if Joe Cronin, played that song for his wife Leah when he first met.
Oh, he knows that song. Well,
Right.
because I asked him about it once.
Nice. Yeah. I'm wondering that's how she got her name. Her parents probably named her that's the name from that song.
That very well could be.
That happens a lot of times. You hear a good song and then it sticks in your head. And when you have your first kid, whether it's a son or a daughter, you give your name give your kid that particular name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My
But
number.
the thing,
Oh, go ahead.
but one more thing I want to ask pertaining about giving kids names. And also, when you do say give your child a good name, make sure you're not loopy on the drugs because I could never imagine anybody naming their kids Moxie Crime Fighter while being straight.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what Penn Joliet named his kid there.
Well,
He had to be high. He had to be high on something, no matter what, when he did that.
look at Frank Zappa's kids' names.
I know Moon Unit, Emmett, Dweezil.
But
Damn,
but he wasn't on
but then,
anything. That's just something he did.
yeah, I know. Well, then again, Frank Zappa was always the opposite of what the mainstream was going for. When you think about it, when everybody's going for the most typical names, the typical titles, Zappa was known to go against that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For instance, my name, Earl. I mean, it was my parents named me that because it was sounded different. It was most unique rather than the typical Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Dave, or Jonathan, or that kind of jazz there.
Right.
You know,
And actually, my real name's common because
nice.
obviously Arknolia is not my real name, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of like the same name as the rapper, an actor.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting there.
Okay, number 9, I got Candyman, which is a song you did way back.
Wow.
It's a semi minor hit, but it's a good song. And then number 8 is Right Away.
Right away.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ride.
nice.
R
Right
I
away. I see
yeah,
now. Yeah,
R I
I
D
get it now.
E. Another good song. Number 7 was covered by Linda Ronstadt. Blue Bayou.
Oh yeah, we know that song. I remember hearing La Ronstadt's version, and I remember hearing the Orbison version.
Yep, good song. And one of the cover bands I was in, we did that one. Number 6, I got. Uh, Pardon me if I've mentioned this before. Love Hurts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all know that. Like I said, that song's been covered countless of times.
And a lot of people are going to think this one's low, but my number 5 is Oh Pretty Woman,
Oh yeah.
which is a great song. Well, if it's on my list, it's a great song.
But then again, of course, we all know it's probably one of the most covered still rock, one of his best known songs there when you think about it.
Yeah. And then number four I got is Dream Baby.
Dream Baby. I don't think I'm aware of that song there that much.
It's the one about sweet dreams, baby. Sweet
Oh yeah,
dreams,
I see.
baby.
Yeah. Ah, I see.
You'll know it when you hear it.
Okay.
Number 3 is Only the Lonely.
Oh yeah, I think I remember we heard that. I remember hearing that song a long time ago. Yeah. And wasn't that the song featured in the movie? No, it wasn't. That was Blue Velvet. I was thinking of the movie Blue Velvet, where
Well,
that guy, where that guy dressed, I guess, is got this get up on, wearing this get up here. He's singing a Roy Orbison ballad there. I thought it was possibly that, but I think it may have been the song Blue Velvet. Did he record a song
I
called Blue Velvet?
well, not him, but Bobby Vinton did.
Okay, so my mind is whack. You got to remember that movie came out. I guess it was in
Long time
'86,
ago.
long time ago. So my memory kind of like is not that up to par when it comes to that.
Yeah. And number 2, I've got. This is a song that was covered by Don McLean and several other people.
Hmm.
Crying.
Oh yeah,
Nice little ballad.
no yeah. That's and of course Orbison redid that song with Katie Lang. I guess it's for some movie. I think it was a David Lynch movie, Wild at Heart, if I'm correct.
I think that was correct. But
Yeah.
that is actually a real killer song. I like that
I
song.
remember hearing that the Don McLean version on the Casey Kase's top 40 radio show there.
Yeah. The vocal range, well, it's displayed in that song pretty good. He's got a great vocal range.
He does, yeah. So we got to give him credit for that. We just know him from the guitar and shades, black hair and black clothing there.
Right.
But he does. But then again, he's got to give a cup for his vocal abilities there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he's an example of a singer that I like because of him and not the vocal harmony thing because he doesn't really do that
Yeah.
except when he was in the Wilburys. Well,
Oh
even then,
yeah.
I don't think he did.
That much vocal harmony there. Yeah.
Not really. And then the
Yeah.
number 1, gee, I wonder what that could be.
Hmm.
How about You Got It?
Oh yeah, no surprise up there because that, as I mentioned, that song became a massive hit after his passing in the '89. There,
That is
it
absolutely a
was produced, and
phenomenal song.
it is. Sadly, Bonnie Raitt had to do her so-called version of it for some chick flick, I guess, in the 1990s there, which I heard at one time. I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, like I say, there's some covers that you go, uh, no.
I can
That's
name an,
just,
I can name another horrendous one. Sheryl Crow doing "Sweet Child of Mine."
yeah. There's
That
some
made me
people
that almost made me barf.
yeah, there's some people that, if they're going to do a cover, like we've said, be close to the original, but add a little bit to it. I mean, there's many examples of how that gets done. Nazareth Love Hurts. Uh,
Yeah.
it's close to the original, and you can hear the original in it, but then you've got the distinctive vocals of the Nazareth guy.
Yeah. That's true. Yes, that's true as well. You, if you're gonna do a cover version, at least go for something like the original, or go for something different that's gonna give it a new life.
Yeah. Okay, now what I'm thinking, because we're about done with this one, is let's do another one, top 10
Yeah.
list, and close out the 50s and 60s. Well, not 60s, but early 60s.
Yeah.
And I got a top 10 list of Ricky Nelson, Chuck Berry,
Yes.
Buddy Holly, and believe it or
Nice.
not, Buck Owens.
Oh yeah. And
And I'm,
he was the co-host of Hee Haw for many years. I remember.
oh yeah, he and
Yeah.
Roy Clark were, I think, the only two that ever did
Yeah,
it.
they were done. Yeah, absolutely. And plus, both are no longer with us, as you know.
Right. Of
Yeah,
course, we watched Hee Haw for the Hee Haw girls.
I did. I only watched it for the
Right.
kind of humor, the funny stuff here and there, and plus some of the artists at that time. I know it was on syndication for many years on the TV stations back where we lived there.
It's kind of funny. It's considered basically a country show, but it
Yeah,
should have appealed to a lot of people because well, like you said, there was the humor. There was some of the acts that were there. Because say what you will, you hear people, I hate country music. Well, actually, there's some pretty good stuff in country music. It's not all trash.
yeah. But the problem, well, the issue, if I mentioned one the time this to somebody, when I was living in Richmond, Michigan, which because Richmond is basically a hick town when you look at it there. It
Right,
was like it was a small town. It's mostly country stuff like Toby Keith, Garth Brooks, and all that
right.
jazz. But if I'm saying, I was saying, well, why don't you listen to country music instead of heavy metal? Well, I'm like, why don't you listen to Leonard Skinner? Why don't you listen to
Yeah, it's
the
funny
artist?
because,
It's going to be the old school.
well, it's kind of
Yeah,
funny
go ahead.
because a lot of people either like country music and nothing else, or they like other things and hate country music. I'm one of those rare individuals that I like things about all kinds of music.
Yeah, a lot of different genres,
Yeah, there's only a few genres that I don't really get into, or if I do, it's not very deep. Rap would be one of them.
or
I,
reggae music.
yeah, I'm okay with some of it, but there's a lot of it there that just doesn't appeal to me. And I'm not
Uh,
going to say it's bad or anything like that. It just simply doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't reach me, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
doesn't float your boat, needless to say. There.
Yeah, yeah,
My problem with my issue with the country music thing there was that when I was telling the story here, when I lived in when I lived in Richmond, the attitude was like either country music or nothing else. Like for instance,
exactly.
there was this bar and grill that I often went to at times on the weekends. I would put on some rock and roll, like say a couple of this song or that, and the owner up there, who was a total prick, banned me from using the jukebox because he said your music sucks, and his belief was either country music or nothing else. He would cut off my music because it's one of those touch tunes jukeboxes there where it's computer animated there. You just press the screen there, here, and there, and there, and here. And a couple of friends of mine who had played some sort of you remember that song, Three Little Pigs by Green Jelly from '93?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, he was playing that, and all of a sudden, this prick ass owner just cut it off right in the middle of it because he wanted to put on country music there. And there was this other woman, her name, forgot her name, but I still well, I do remember her name. I just don't want to give it out and
Well,
dox her
right,
name
I
out there.
understand that.
She was like country. It's the same way, like. I was like, can we put on some rock and roll on the radio there? And she's like, what do we listen to here? What? We listen to country and nothing else.
Yeah, see,
And
that's the attitude that I don't like.
that was basically the attitude of Richmond. It was
Yeah,
either yeah, if you're a different, if you're not what they want you to be, they hate you.
yeah, and that's just, I guess, for lack of a better term, highly intolerant.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I moved out of that area there.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that one.
Yeah, it's just like like I want to live in an area that is more accepting and more diverse.
Yeah, hey, you can have your country music. I just,
It's
and
not my thing, but respect other people's requests. To listen to something else.
yeah, and actually, like I said, I like some of it. There is country music I do like.
And I was telling this one guy, and I was mentioning, if I'm going to listen to country music, it's going to be the old school country music, whether it's
Yeah,
Loretta Lynn and like a Johnny Cash. Especially, I can listen to Johnny Cash all damn day there.
Patsy Cline.
Betsy Klein, yeah, because the songs they had was downright gritty, like the singers looked at that time.
Right,
I know.
right. But I guess we're done with this portion. If you want, we can shut down for a little while,
Yep.
change our stuff, and come back and
Yep.
we'll do this next bunch. Then after that, we'll get back to a list. Well, we'll start on a list that you're going to be able to come up with a list on. In other words, we're going to start with the Beatles.
Yep.
Although you mentioned Johnny Cash, and I didn't think of Johnny Cash, and I'd like to do. Well, we can insert him later
Yep.
because we both know him.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and shut down this. Wait a few
Put this
minutes,
aside. Yep.
and we'll start up another one.
Another top 10 list here.
Yeah, and I'll cover these, and we'll get done with that and go on to the Beatles.
All right. Because I know they're supposed to do a Beatles night here, and I wanted to discuss, the debauchery that was known as Apple Records,
Yeah,
which I say, helped participate in the breakup of the Beatles.
had a lot to do with it, I'm sure.
And pretty much, it's all there because everybody's always pointing the finger at Yoko for this, Yoko for that, Yoko had nothing to do with it. Yeah, we agree her being there didn't make things better.
Right.
But sadly, she got for most of the blame for what happened to that group there.
And actually, Paul had a lot to do with the problems there.
Yeah, I remember he was trying to take over if I understand, he was trying to lead the group there, from what I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
And of course, at the same time, John Lennon was emerging as his own individual there, and
right,
he was doing a lot of crazy stuff. The press conference inside of a bag or something like that. Him and Yoko were doing,
right,
and
right,
of course, we cannot forget the Two Virgins album that him and Yoko posed in the buff front cover and back,
right.
which really pissed off Paul McCartney. Believe it or not, I remember hearing about.
Not surprised.
Yeah. And of course, him and Apple Records, was, do you think we should talk about Apple Records right now, or you want to wait to the Beatles night?
Let's wait for the Beatles night.
Correct there. All right. All right there. All right. So I'm thinking, it's
Is it a little late to start a second half, or do you want to do this some other time?
we could probably do it at some other time, but I got to check my schedule at work, when we could do continue this here because my work hours at my job fluctuate from time to time. I could start in the morning, I could start at 12 noon, such and such here. I got to figure out what time, when do I have my next day off so we could do our continuation here.
Or at least get off when we can do it at 6?
Well, I'm thinking possibly we could probably do it this coming Friday, the 25th. because I'm off on that day here.
Ooh, that's Christmas Day. Well, I don't have a
Oh,
problem with
really?
that then.
Oh, really? Holy shit! I forgot. I didn't realize that. Well, let's see here. Well, I'm off on. Well, I work in the morning on Thursday, but that'll be Christmas Eve. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
pot, and I get off at 4 p.m. So we could probably do a short, probably a somewhat of
Well,
some of the continuation of your lists on that particular evening.
yeah, we could do that because this won't take real long.
Yeah,
I don't think so anyway.
you know. Hmm. No, because it's Christmas Eve. I remember. Yeah. Let's see. Well, I'm thinking. Well, the 30th Wednesday. That's New Year's Eve.
Oh no, that's the day before New Year's Eve.
That's true. Yeah, because that'll be New Year. Well, actually, New Year's the day before New Year's Day. Hmm. And it gave me some really awkward hours here, and believe it or not, there. So let's see here. So, it's too bad that we couldn't do this program at later in the evening because I know you
Well,
said you cannot stay up late.
not really. It's a little tough.
I see. So we'll probably, I'm thinking possibly, I know this Friday is, but we could possibly do it later on Christmas Day if you got, or unless you got friends and family coming over or we're going to visit them for Christmas.
Not really. I would. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about possibly doing it on Christmas Day around 6 p.m. our time here, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'd probably be all right with that.
All right, so we'll see how it goes on. We could put that on there. We could put that on the let's see here, what they call it there on the possible list there.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely there because I know the night prior to that would not be okay there. So yeah. Plus,
Well, just send me a note on Skype when you're available.
yeah.
And
So
the only time that I'll have a problem is during the day on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because that's when I do the dialysis thing.
correct. Yes, I understand well. All right there. Okay, so I guess so. Would this be it for our episode tonight? There, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't have anything else for the three we talked about.
Well,
I
I
mean,
do. Well, let me conclude my top five Beatle albums there for the
the albums.
because albums. Yes, album. Remember, I'm more of an album guy than I'm a song there
Right.
because first and foremost, let me start off with Meet the Beatles because that was the one that really that my ma had, and that's when I started listening to a lot of times when I first discovered them, thanks to the cartoon series that we mentioned there.
Right.
And and of course, we wanted number four would have to be, of course, the Help soundtrack, the U.S. version, because of the songs on that album and plus the instrumental scores that was included to go along with the movie. You know,
Right.
I urge Capitol Records to re-release the U.S. version because some of the instrumental scores in there are pretty damn good, like the Bitter End, the different version of Hard Day's Night, which he titled Another Hard Day's Night, with a kind of a sitar type of Indian feel there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good song.
it is. Yeah. Now, number three would have to be, I guess, Revolver because that's when the start of the experimental prog rock feel really started to take off on that record there.
Right.
Yes. And number two, it had to be the White Album because of the massive diversity on that album, ranging from country, honky tonk, 1920s and 30s feel to it, like songs like Honey Pie, My Guitar Gently Weeps, which, by the way, featured the only guest appearance from another artist on that track prior to Billy Preston appearing on the Let It Be album there. or the Let It Be, or the Get Back sessions that it was supposed to have been originally called. And that, of course, we know was Eric Clapton, George Harrison's best friend at that time. He did
Right.
the guitar solos on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Of course, we got also the songs like the closing track, Good Night, which Ringo sings on. Songs like Revolution #1, which was a slow version of Revolution, as we all know. And Back in the USSR, their parody of Back in the USA, the Chuck Berry tune there.
Right.
And a lot of great songs on that album there. Happiness is a Warm Gun. You know, who would ever thought the Beatles would sing about a weapon?
Right.
And of course, we cannot forget, Revolution #9.
Yeah. Boy, talk about out there. That song was definitely out there.
Way or Our Peace, you could say, because it wasn't really a song, but it was like one of the most out there pieces out there that really, and it's also could say it's also had to be included because that we all know that piece helped contribute to the much speculated hoax that happened soon after that album came out, the Paul McCartney is dead hoax,
Yeah.
which took place, I guess, in '69, for what I understand.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a Detroit DJ whose name I forgot who helped started that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you're number one.
Oh yeah, Sergeant Pepper's
Of
Lonely
course.
Hearts Club Band. Because the first time I heard that was on a 4-track cartridge that my dad owned, along with the U.S. version of Help, the soundtrack. And I was like blown away by the stuff and the styles of this album here, the arrangements, the songs, everything. I mean, like not only did this album spark the summer of love, this album was to me the ultimate summer album. When the Beatles remember when the Beatles CDs got reissued, released to the UK versions in the 1987, I bought the cassette version because I didn't have a CD player at that time, and I was like, remember cruising around Gratiot Avenue in Roseville in the summertime, playing this album on my tape, and it was like the happiest vibe just came all over me, all over again, like I was a kid when I first heard that 4-track.
Well, I told you about the first time I heard it, right?
Yes, you have. You were like, what the heck? This is amazing, man.
Yeah, because consider that there was nothing like that at that time.
Absolutely, man. Of course, the Beach Boys pulled it off earlier with their record, Pet Sounds, and we all know that album was an inspiration to Sgt. Pepper. We all
Yep,
know that.
yep, yep. But that was just an interesting, yeah. Top five. What would I put? Let's see.
Hmm.
Boy, I hadn't really thought about that. I don't know. I think I'd do Abbey Road number five.
Yeah. You know what? Abbey Road's got to be included as well. I feel like an idiot.
Let's see. Number four. Number four. Maybe Rubber Soul. Mm,
Yeah. Not a bad one. That's a good one as well. I remember having that. And this is interesting. The one I had was an old disc, but it came out. It was on the Apple label. I
yeah,
guess what they did is they
they
decided to
redid it. Yeah,
yeah, to release those earlier Beatles albums on the Apple Records label,
right.
including Meet the Beatles and the Beatles' second album and Rubber Soul.
Yeah. And I guess my third one would be Revolver because, well, like you were talking about, it was their first exploration into stuff.
Yeah,
So I'd have to go with that. And I'm trying to
and
think if I want to put the White Album number two.
mhm. Yes,
Yeah, I think so. And number
yes.
one for me is also Sergeant Pepper.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, Revolver is when we started noticing John Lennon wearing glasses all the 24/7 now,
Yeah,
thanks to that movie he did called How I Won the War. What the story was, it was directed by Richard Lester, and it took place in some sort of a war period, whether it's World War One or World War Two. I don't know if it was a drama or a comedy, but Lennon was given this pair of glasses to wear throughout the filming, and I guess when the filming was done, those glasses would remain on his face for the rest of his life.
Yeah. But I guess we close this one off, and next time we get together, we're gonna do four more top 10, 15s or whatever,
Yes.
and finish that off. And then after that, we're gonna do the Beatles, and we're gonna
Yep.
do the Beatles. We'll do a top 15 songs of the early Beatles, pre Sergeant Pepper, and then a
Yep.
top 15 Sergeant Pepper and beyond. And don't forget the singles that weren't on albums,
Oh, yes.
because I almost did. That's
Hmm.
why I mentioned it to you.
That's right there. And I feel bad I wasn't able to come up with
That's okay.
come up with top 10 or top 15 lists of my own. But I've been busy at my work, doing all these shifts and all these hours here. And by the time I get home, I was like, oh, I just want to relax, see what's going on here, lay down a little bit. Because a couple times I had to get up about 7 in the morning, to be at work at 8 or 9.
Yeah. Well, it's okay because you're going to know more about doing the Beatles and the Stones and all of them when we do those. But the next one after these four that I'm going to do next time we get together, which if you get a chance, hey, you can do it. If not, it's okay. We'll just do it that way again.
That's good.
Because I got the impression that there were some songs that you were hearing me talk about that where you're going, I'm not really familiar with that song, which is good because that's the point of this whole thing is not only you, people that might be listening to this later, it gives them a chance to explore new music for them.
Yep.
It's obviously not new music, but anyway, I guess we're done for tonight,
Yep.
and we will do this. Just send me something on Skype what your times are. You know what my
Yes.
schedule is, and we'll go with that.
Okay. Definitely there. Definitely, I will let you know in the future there. I'll let you know what's going on here. Yeah, and I know we haven't been able to do any. As I mentioned, our apologies to everybody out there who will listen to our program. Because of my work schedule. We do try to be best to make it up as much as we can there.
Right.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's going to do it